Did you know that after the age of 60, the size of the male reproductive gland is not merely a matter of appearance, but also serves as a subtle indicator reflecting the body's overall health? According to statistics from the National Institute on Aging in the United States, more than 35% of men over 60 experience changes related to the size and function of the male reproductive gland without even realizing it. This situation causes many individuals to quietly worry, form their own conclusions, or believe in unproven rumors. Today, we will take a clear, scientific, and gentle look at the true meaning behind the size of the male reproductive gland after the age of 60. Is it related to male vitality, hormone balance, prostate health, or urinary function? And most importantly, what is the correct way to understand and care for yourself? Proactively avoiding unnecessary concerns. If you are already over 60, do not take your eyes off this video, because the information we are about to share could help change the way you look at and care for your body each day. Which country are you watching this video from? Please leave a comment below. As we journey through life and step into the later stages of age, our bodies naturally and quietly begin to change. One of the things men often quietly pay attention to is the health of the male reproductive gland. Many people still believe this is just a small part that no longer holds much importance as we grow older. However, in reality, the male reproductive gland is responsible for two vital functions that directly affect male vitality: hormone balance and the overall equilibrium of the body. To understand this more clearly, imagine the male reproductive gland as a small yet extremely sophisticated factory. This factory operates continuously to maintain two special production lines. The first line specializes in producing germ cells, which play a foundational role in maintaining the body's reproductive ability. Although many individuals over the age of 60 may no longer place much importance on this aspect, the consistent operation of this production line still plays a role in maintaining hormone balance, contributing to the protection of prostate health and urinary function. The second production line is where male hormones, often called the hormones of later life, are produced. This is the quiet source of energy that nurtures vitality, helps maintain muscle mass, keeps bones strong, supports a positive mental state, and reduces the risk of osteoporosis as well as metabolic diseases. The remarkable aspect lies in the fact that these two functions, though coexisting in one small space, are operated by two completely different groups of cells. The cells responsible for producing germ cells are concentrated in the majority of the internal area of the male reproductive gland, occupying about 95% of its volume. Meanwhile, the cells responsible for producing male hormones are scattered only in the remaining gaps, making up approximately 5% of the total volume. This means that when looking at the external size of the male reproductive gland, we can partly assess its capacity for producing germ cells, but we cannot immediately conclude the level of male hormones inside. Therefore, understanding these two vital functions not only helps men over 60 avoid vague worries, but also allows them to care for themselves more scientifically. After all, a factory only truly operates smoothly when both production lines are maintained in their best condition. Ignoring one of the two would lead to serious imbalances in the entire physiological system as well as overall health. So the question arises, does the size of the male reproductive gland relate more to one of these two functions? In the journey of maintaining health after the age of 60, many gentlemen often pay attention to indicators such as blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol. while forgetting that the size of the male reproductive gland is also a subtle yet equally important sign that reflects the state of vitality. Many people believe this is merely a matter of appearance. In reality, modern medicine has proven that the size of the male reproductive gland has a direct relationship with the ability to produce germ cells, which is the core factor in maintaining hormone balance in later life, as well as supporting urinary health and prostate health. According to analysis from the American Urological Research Institute, approximately 95% of the volume of the male reproductive gland is actually a system of seminiferous tubules responsible for the continuous and steady production of germ cells. Imagine the male reproductive gland as a small factory that never stops operating. The seminiferous tubules are the production lines skillfully coiled and assembled inside. The larger the factory, the more production lines it has, meaning the capacity to produce products is also higher. Conversely, if the factory becomes smaller, the space for the production lines shrinks and output decreases as well. This is not just a simple comparison, but a principle that has been clearly proven through many decades of research in the field of male reproductive health. When men encounter challenges related to vitality or need to check the condition of the prostate and urinary system, one of the basic steps doctors perform is measuring the size and volume of the male reproductive gland using specialized ultrasound equipment. If the size is found to be smaller than normal, this may indicate that the ability to produce germ cells has decreased and needs to be evaluated more thoroughly. One of the common causes of the male reproductive gland becoming smaller in middle-aged and elderly men is the phenomenon of varicocele. When the veins around this area become dilated, the internal temperature rises abnormally, creating an unfavorable environment for germ cell production. Over time, the seminiferous tubules may become damaged and cease functioning, leading to a significant decrease in the size of the male reproductive gland. This not only affects vitality, but also increases the risk of hormonal imbalance, impacting overall health, with issues such as prolonged fatigue, reduced muscle mass, and a higher likelihood of developing prostate and urinary system conditions. However, it is important to note that evaluating size cannot rely solely on feeling or ordinary observation because each person has a different body structure, and natural differences are understandable. The most accurate and safest method is still to visit reputable medical facilities for specialized ultrasound examinations to measure specific volume and clearly determine the current condition. In summary, the size of the male reproductive gland is a factor directly related to vitality, especially for men after the age of 60 when the body enters a natural aging phase. Paying attention, monitoring, and undergoing regular checkups will help detect abnormalities early, allowing for timely interventions to maintain sustainable health and a more fulfilling quality of life. So what about male hormones in later life? Does the size of the male reproductive gland truly reflect that aspect? During the natural aging process after the age of 60, many people often look at the size of the male reproductive gland and assume it is a direct sign reflecting the amount of male hormones in the body. Quite a few gentlemen, upon noticing that the size of their male reproductive gland appears smaller than before, begin to worry, believing this is the reason their body feels tired. Their mental state declines, or their physical flexibility is no longer as it once was. However, the truth is not exactly like that. According to research from the National Institute on Aging in the United States, the size of the male reproductive gland is not the determining factor for hormone levels in later life. To understand this more clearly, it is important to remember one key point. Approximately 95% of the volume of the male reproductive gland is dedicated to the system of seminiferous tubules, which produce germ cells. Only about 5% of the remaining space is reserved for Leydig cells, which are the ones responsible for producing the essential hormones that help maintain vitality, mental clarity, and overall health. Imagine the male reproductive gland as a large factory where the main production area is occupied by the germ cell production lines, while the hormone production area is just a small room tucked in between the other zones. Therefore, no matter how large that factory is, the area designated for hormone production is still very small. This means the size of the male reproductive gland does not accurately reflect the level of male hormones in the body. There are cases where men have a large reproductive gland size, but their hormone levels are low because the Leydig cells are not functioning efficiently. Conversely, some individuals may have a smaller reproductive gland size, yet their Leydig cells work steadily, producing a stable and abundant amount of hormones. The quality of Leydig cell function is the key factor, not the size or volume of the male reproductive gland. What is even more interesting is that Leydig cells do not operate on their own, but are regulated by the hormonal control center in the brain. It is the delicate signals from the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland that decide when to increase or decrease hormone production, depending on the body's needs. This is why there are people, even after the age of 60, who still maintain strong vitality, clear mental focus, healthy bones and joints, and a consistently positive mood, while others may feel sluggish, experience insomnia, frequent forgetfulness, or regular back pain and stiffness. One particularly important point is that male hormones in later life do not only affect vitality, they are closely connected to cardiovascular health, the musculoskeletal system, and even recovery ability after injuries. Therefore, maintaining a stable level of male hormones is the foundation for helping men over 60 live healthier and higher quality lives each day. In summary, do not rush to judge hormone levels in later life solely based on the size of the male reproductive gland. The only way to know for sure is to perform a blood test at reputable medical facilities. Through that, an accurate conclusion can be made along with the appropriate adjustment plan. After the age of 60, it is natural for a man's body to experience changes. However, there are certain signs that should not be ignored, as they may be subtle reminders from within the body indicating that male vitality and hormone balance need proper attention. One of the most noticeable signs is prolonged fatigue without a clear cause. Even with adequate nutrition and without excessive physical exertion, there is a constant feeling of sluggishness, lack of energy, and a marked decline in mental sharpness. This is a signal that male hormones in later life may be imbalanced and the male reproductive gland should be checked. In addition, there may be a noticeable decrease in muscle mass, with fat more easily accumulating in the abdominal area, and the arms and legs no longer as firm as before. Movement becomes slower. Even though previous activities were carried out normally, this is not merely a matter of ordinary aging, but is also related to declining hormone function and urinary health. Furthermore, if there are changes in mood, such as frequent sadness, irritability, persistent insomnia, especially frequent nighttime urination, disrupting sleep, these are also signs that require attention. One detail that many people often overlook is the change in the size of the male reproductive gland. If there is a personal sense that this area has become smaller, accompanied by a feeling of heaviness or mild tension in the lower abdomen, it is important not to hesitate and to get checked as soon as possible. However, it must be remembered that all personal perceptions are only for reference, as each body has its own unique differences. To know the exact health status In-depth examinations at reputable medical facilities are necessary. These include ultrasound measurements of the male reproductive gland, blood tests to check hormone levels, and analysis of related indicators. These are safe procedures that do not cause pain, are completely suitable for older adults, and help detect potential problems early before they seriously affect quality of life. In summary, if the body shows signs such as prolonged fatigue, muscle loss, mood changes, insomnia, or suspicion about the size of the male reproductive gland, it is advisable to proactively seek medical consultation to accurately assess the current condition. Do not wait until it is too late to start caring. Once the warning signs are clearly understood, along with the importance of regular health checkups, the next question many men over the age of 60 often ask is how to care for and maintain vitality in a sustainable way without resorting to complicated or difficult methods. In reality, to keep the male reproductive gland and male hormones in later life consistently stable, the most important thing is to maintain a scientific lifestyle and healthy daily habits. First and foremost, nutrition plays a key role. A diet rich in vegetables, fiber, vitamins, and minerals is the foundation that helps the endocrine and urinary systems function smoothly. It is recommended to prioritize foods rich in omega-3, such as salmon and mackerel, combined with nutritious seeds and whole grains. At the same time, limit foods high in oil and fat, fast food, and processed meats, as these can negatively affect prostate health and hormone function. In addition to diet, regular physical activity is also an indispensable factor. For middle-aged and older men, there is no need for intense exercise. It is sufficient to spend about 20 to 30 minutes each day on light exercises such as walking, yoga, tai chi, or simple stretching movements. These activities are enough to maintain good blood circulation, especially in the pelvic area, which is closely related to male vitality. Moreover, maintaining a relaxed mindset and minimizing stress also play an extremely important role. Prolonged negative emotions can reduce the function of the male reproductive gland as well as disrupt hormone balance. Therefore, always seek ways to balance life through activities such as reading, meeting friends, caring for plants, or spending time on hobbies you enjoy. Lastly, it is essential to undergo regular health checkups at least once a year, including blood tests to check male hormone levels in later life, ultrasound examinations of the male reproductive gland, and assessments of prostate function as well as the urinary system. These examinations are completely gentle, non-painful, and perfectly suitable for older adults. They help detect potential issues early, allowing for timely and appropriate adjustment solutions. In summary, to maintain vitality in later life, the most important things are healthy eating, regular exercise, a positive mindset, and routine health checkups. These simple habits, when practiced consistently every day, will help men over the age of 60 live healthier and higher quality lives. Looking back at everything we have shared today, it becomes clear that many men over the age of 60 often worry about the size of the male reproductive gland, forgetting that the core focus should be on overall vitality and maintaining hormonal balance in later life. These are the true factors that determine quality of life. In reality, it has been proven that the size of the male reproductive gland mainly reflects the capacity to produce germ cells, but it does not accurately indicate the level of male hormones in the body because most of its volume is dedicated to the seminiferous tubule system, while the cells that produce hormones occupy only a very small portion. For this reason, if one relies only on outward appearance to evaluate health. It is easy to fall into misunderstanding and unnecessary worry. What matters most is listening to your own body, recognizing subtle signs such as prolonged fatigue, muscle loss, mood changes, insomnia, or frequent nighttime urination. These are the true signals indicating that male hormones in later life may be out of balance and that health needs timely checkups. To maintain lasting vitality in later life, the key does not lie in complicated methods. It comes down to healthy eating, regular physical activity, a positive mindset, and routine health checkups. Simply adjusting small habits, such as adding more vegetables to meals, spending a few minutes each day walking gently, or maintaining a relaxed mental state, can already create a positive difference for the body. If you find today's content helpful, please subscribe to the channel and share this video with your loved ones, as this may be the most practical health gift for those you care about.